And of course, some people may argue and say, okay, you belong to an extreme Muslim family. This is not the rest of the Muslim world. But I can argue back that it's found in the Holy Scriptures of Islam, in the Quran itself. The only religion, unfortunately, that points out other religions by the name and incite violence against people.
What is it that's at the core of radical Islam? Take a look at this clip over here with Mosab Hassan Yousef talking about what really motivates the radical ideology in radical Islam. So we'll watch this clip together and then talk about it. But first, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch. Check this out.
I didn't start yesterday, and my journey did not start after October 7th. 15 years of fighting against Hamas ideology and against Hamas operation, knowing that if Hamas succeeded in destroying Israel, they will come after the Arabs. They will come after other Muslim sects. They will come after the West, because jihad has no limit. Even though Hamas has the Palestinian cause as a device, this is how they guarantee the continuation by the name of nationalism. But at their essence, it's a religious war. From one side, when I say religious war, I don't mean a religious war between the Jews and the Muslims, or at least between Israel and jihadists. It's only one way, and that's an Islamic jihadist assault on the Jewish people for being Jewish. Since childhood, this is my condition. And of course, some people may argue and say, okay, you belong to an extreme Muslim family. This is not the rest of the Muslim world. But I can argue back that it's found in the Holy Scriptures of Islam, in the Quran itself. The only religion, unfortunately, that points out other religions by the name and incite violence against people. More than 42 times Israel is mentioned in the Quran. You will not find in the Bible even one time mentioning the Muslims or any other religious scripture. I have studied Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Christianity, Islam, and the divisions and subdivisions within this, the major religions. In fact, I practiced those religions. I've been to synagogues, I've been to temples, I've been to mosques, I've been to churches. I met with the people, I lived with the people, I built bridges. And on that authority today I speak. Many can find it funny to just accuse and discredit, say this is just a small minority in the world. And I say, no, the problem is much bigger than this. Unfortunately, the denial continues. And this is part of my frustration and why I lost my patience after October 7th. Because I have war that Hamas is going to drag the entire region into a bloodbath. And they succeeded. And today, instead of learning the lesson, instead of getting united to fight this disease, that is actually, it's not only anti-Israel, it's anti-civilization. If I go to India, we have an Islamic problem. And if the Indian president talk about Islam, they label him as Islamophobic. If I go to Europe, we have an Islamic problem. Most of the religious radical terrorism is coming mostly by the name of Islam and by the name of Allah. On October 7, Hamas did not kill innocent people and kidnap innocent people by the name of nationalism or by the name of Palestine. They killed people by the name of Allah. Allah does not like anyone who is not obedient to him. And of course, many can say, okay, this is, you can find violence in the Bible, you can find violence in every religion. But I say the unique situation in Islam, that it's legislation, it's a way of worship, it's a way of obedience. Conquering the world is a mission. And even though there are moderate Muslims and peaceful Muslims, but to dominate earth, which belongs to Allah, is an Islamic mission. And all it took, 19 terrorists on 9/11, to turn the globe into chaos. And up to this point, every time I go to the airport, I know that I can credit it to Muslim terrorists. And in fact, if I want to go even prior to that, thanks to the Palestinians who hijacked commercial airlines, blow them up on the runways, kidnapped people. And since then, we had to take extreme security measures. We had to force billions of people around the globe to go through crazy security measures. Why? Because we have a small minority of maniacs that now everybody is living the consequences of their violence. And if you just look back, what happened after 9/11 and how the world changed, how much darkness and mistrust came to the world, and the world does not want to call them out and say, we don't coexist with violence. If you don't have the capacity to separate between Islam and mosque, or between politics and religion, mosque and state, then we have a problem. In Europe, we separate between church and state. Most democracies follow this lead. So why don't we encourage the Muslims? I'm not saying that we need to fight with them, but we can at least help them evolve, integrate, follow the lead of humanity. And when I speak about this problem, I was born a Muslim. I went to a Sharia school. My father is Muslim Brotherhood, not only Hamas, the biggest Islamic movement in the world with more than 100 million active members. And all of them believe in violence. And I know their danger. This is why I speak against them.
I am not a follower of Islam. I am not familiar with all of the ins and outs of the doctrines. I do not claim to be an expert in any stretch of the imagination in Islam, the Islamic world. Know the basics, done a bit of research, but would never consider myself an expert, or certainly someone who's lived in that region for an extended period of time and really knows the ins and outs of what's going on. And so to rely on someone's advice, someone's perspective, who has both not only grew up in a Sharia school and grew up with parents in the Muslim Brotherhood, to really know what's going on, both from living in the region and growing up in the faith. And so I can't help but give credence and support and a listening ear to someone like Mosab Hassan Yousef. And what he says constantly is that, yes, although many Muslims are peace-loving people, and they're just trying to worship God in the way that they understand. And I believe that too. And I think that a Muslim that worships God in the way that they understand and keeps their faith and tries to enhance their connection with God through the Islamic faith is doing a good thing in this world, and should continue to do so. At the same time, there does seem to be, according to reports like Mosab Hassan Yousef, and according to just anyone with their eyes open in the world, that there is a political wing of Islam that has integrated religion and politics and pushes forward for domination and wants that the entire world be under the banner of Islam. And even if we're talking about the minority, well, Islam is, as a religious movement, there's over 1 billion adherents to Islam, well over 1 billion adherents. So when we're talking about even a small minority believing something, it's still a very significant amount of people, right? 10% of 1 billion is still 100 million, and 10% is that's probably on the low end, but that's still 100 million people around the world that are bent on violence. And this is something that Mosab said in this clip, and something that we need to be aware of. And that certainly, to make the distinction between Islam, the faith, and Islam, the sort of political world domineering ideology, is obvious and should be always taken into account. We don't want to preach hate against any person, against what person's faith and what have you. But to be realistic, that there is a large group of people, even if it's the minority of those that follow Islam, but even that small minority is a large quantity of people that really bent on dismantling civilization, that really would like to overthrow the West. And Western countries, rather than sort of being wishy-washy about it, need to stand firm and create laws that protect our Western values, our Western civilizations, our Western nations. Period. End of story. And so kudos to people like Mosab Hassan Yousef and other great either Islamic leaders or former Islamic leaders that bring this to public attention. And public attention should take heed in what is being said, because they're not mincing words in what they want to do. If you like this content overall, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch. Take care.